Nobody's on yet. Okay. Let me X out of this. Okay. So, okay. Nope. Anyway, this is episode 32. Chazz Says Anything, Wildcard Fiascos, and the cold Mizer Cometh. And of course, the cold Mizer came to my throat. Hopefully, I won't cough, but we'll see. If you like what you see, you like what you hear, click the subscribe button in the bottom right-hand corner. Put my ears on right. All right. So hopefully I'm not too loud. And this is Chazz Storm reporting from Carteret again. What is digging? Something's digging. So hopefully you guys bore through the Monday storm. Now Friday is coming up. And Friday is going to be about 2 to 4 inches if you're in Central Jersey. And from what I'm hearing, driving is going to be not so much fun. So hopefully y'all can figure out what you're doing between the hours of 8 and 4 on Friday. Hopefully maybe some of you are working and you won't have to deal with it. You just have to deal with the snow on your car when you're leaving work. But that's what I saw on my weather. And that's my report. Okay, so I got Super Bowl boxes still out. Maybe I'm too high. Mic might be too high. Anyway, so I got Super Bowl boxes that are out. Still got 5s, 10s, and 20s to fill. I think I got about 35s and about maybe 40 or 50 of the 10s and 20s. So that's going on right now. I still got them left. Once this is done, that's it. This is my last set of the Super Bowl boxes. So contact me. There it is, chazzroyalty@gmail.com. If you don't have my contact information, if you do, text or call me to let me know what you want. All right. So now we'll start with a little bit of the wildcard games. Oh, why is my screen not up? Tell me I lost my whole screen. Uh-oh. I lost everything. That's not good. All right. So let's go to this. The wildcard games. Houston destroys Cleveland 45-17, and Miami couldn't run in the negative temperatures on Saturday, and Andy Reid had his frozen mustache. And Kansas City took out Miami 26-7. So, what's to say about... Hold on a second. Put this back here. All right. So, what do we say about these games? Houston, bit of a surprise. Cleveland, I thought would at least show up, have a good defense. They have a good defense. But Houston, with their rookie quarterback, CJ Stroud, it was an amazing game. I watched most of that game. It's a very, very amazing game. And Houston now takes on Baltimore. We'll get to that. This game, the Kansas City-Miami game, I'll get to this more in my rant that I have. So, obviously, I say Andy Reid, with his frozen mustache, was very funny, memed everywhere. And Miami couldn't run in negative temperatures. They couldn't even throw. Tua couldn't do anything. And they obviously only scored 7 points, and I don't remember how they did that, honestly. But, yeah, the Kansas City didn't look great, but they looked good enough to win. As simple as that. All right, Sunday's drama. Green Bay shocks the NFL world and Dallas by winning in Big D 48-32. Sorry, Colin. I know if you were on, you might have something to say about this game. And the Detroit Lions in the best game of the weekend, absolutely best game of the weekend, escaped by the LA Rams 24-23. So let's talk about Dallas real quick. I'm really going to be shocked that McCarthy's still on this team in about a week. The whole team was just not there. And the fact that they scored 32 points was just a fact of the defense on Green Bay is like, oh, they're not coming back. And for the most part, they didn't. But they got close enough that they had to put the starting team back in. But good for Green Bay. The first 7-seeded team in this era. So to actually be this number 2 team and move on to the Wildcard to the next round. Jordan Love had a heck of a game, absolute heck of a game. And there's nothing more I can say. I mean, with the team that Aaron Rodgers left when he thought he had no team to have, and then Jordan Love comes in, does well enough, and actually wins a playoff game. Go figure. And where's Aaron Rodgers? Is sitting somewhere on some mountain, apparently. So, yeah, interesting twist in Green Bay. And now to the best game of the weekend. I mean, hands down, best game of the week. Back and forth, defense, offense, special teams, everything was going right and wrong for both teams. The Rams took it to the Lions, there's no doubt. But the Lions prevailed, and it's their first win in 31 years. Absolutely, congratulations. That's awesome. I can feel, I tell you, I definitely feel the emotion coming from some of those fans, and you can see them crying. And they deserve to cry. Anybody who said, why were they crying, or why these big men, crying, you're not a Detroit fan. You can't even imagine being a Detroit fan. Like being a Giants fan, I'm not a Detroit fan. I don't understand, why people were making fun of these guys, or especially online, these social media trolls, they were absolutely making fun of these guys. But now Detroit's got a tough game, and I'll talk about that in a little bit. Now, lastly, this is where I'll start talking a little bit more. Let me get this. Anyway, so Monday, home cooking. Both home teams won. The shocker was the second one. So Buffalo, a day earlier, played a day later. Remember, they were supposed to play on Sunday. They got pushed back to Monday because of that bad snowstorm that I talked about last week. Ended up hitting upstate New York pretty hard. So they got moved to the next day. Pittsburgh had to play a day later. Oh my God! I mean, I saw Pittsburgh fans that were not happy about this. I'm like, and they were Pittsburgh fans from New Jersey. I'm like, you got to give Buffalo a little credit, And I have a comment on that coming up on a little bit about should they have played that game and a one in Kansas City. I'll talk about that. No, there's the cough. So then now Philly falling flat on their face. I mean, talk about a pathetic offensive and defensive display. The 9 points was 3 field goals. I mean, that's pretty sad. They finally fell to the rule. You only kick field goals, you don't win. And Philly did not win. Philly, it's amazing that they didn't pull the first team early because they weren't doing anything right. Jalen Hurts, for whatever reason, had no game. I don't know why. Yeah, did everybody get old and tired? I really need to understand. Did Philly get old and tired? I don't understand why, but maybe they did, maybe they didn't. So we want to talk a little bit more Philly. So there was a report that came out from multiple sources online that Jason Kelce, talked to his teammates, and came to Sirianni said something, or he said something to Sirianni, and Sirianni let him talk to the team. And will this man retire? He says he'll announce his decision on the future, quote unquote, when it's time. On his podcast, he had this to say. Nick Sirianni kind of gave me an opportunity to talk. He's talking to Travis, his brother, on their podcast. I didn't announce what I was doing on purpose, despite, I guess, what's been leaked to the media. I just don't think you're in a position after a game like that to really make that decision. I just don't. There's too much emotion in the moment to really fully grasp that decision. I get that. And honestly, I'm okay with his feelings on that. But the way you looked, Jason, in my opinion, you look like you were done. You weren't crying because you lost the game. That's not the type of man I've seen you be over the last so many years. I've watched you because Beth is an Eagles fan. You don't normally look like that. My opinion, in your mind, you knew this was the end. You're just not ready to say it. And I get that. That's your right to not say it until you're ready to say it. But in my mind, I know I can see it. You're done. And you know what? I think I said this on my Facebook page. I think you have a gold jacket in your future. You're going to have a bust in your future. Your little girls are going to grow up to see this, and that's awesome. I absolutely believe this, and it was a good career. Honestly, you got your championship, and you got a big time career in broadcasting and or podcasting and or running whatever farm you were running in your movie, your documentary that you had. So now, and this poses another question with this game: do the Eagles need a rebuild? Let's start with the guy running the show, Nick Sirianni, one of the most confident and frankly braggadocious coaches in the NFL. Is he the reason they lost? Is he the reason that the defense just, dropped? Is it the GM? I mean, he brought in some of those guys, and I'm not saying Hassan Reddick is at fault. I think it's the cornerbacks, honestly. They kept dropping everything, and then Slay got hurt. Brian Bradbury, who didn't get hurt the entire game and a lot of the season, he was there, but he's bad. He's bad. He's more bad than good. He hasn't helped them out, that's for sure. So, would it be shocking if Sirianni gets fired? I don't think so, but I don't think it's going to happen. To his defensive coaches and offensive coaches get let go, yeah, that's possible. But I don't think Sirianni's gone. For Philly fans who do watch it, you might be better off with Sirianni and a whole new repertoire of coaches. All right, so this came up, and now before I get to this, it keeps my phone is going off. Apparently, Dallas is reporting that Mike McCarthy is being retained after that completely shocking defeat in Dallas. I just popped up on my phone a couple minutes ago as I was talking about the Eagles. And if that's true, then the NFC East is exactly what I'm saying. Oh, where is the NFC East gone? Because I'm telling you, it's an absolute joke what the NFC East is right now. I mean, even the Giants, we have an opportunity as a Giants organization and fans backing them up to possibly see something move forward. We'll see what happens. Will they go with another quarterback? Will will Daniel Jones be the guy? Will they get rid of everybody else that they've already had? Let's start kind of fresh, but also keep the guys that we want to keep. I'm hoping for the best that can work out because obviously the Eagles and the Cowboys have things to work out after that 2 bad losses. I mean, this is going to eat at them all off season. Now, to what I have up here. Does Mike Tomlin keep his job? The longest tenured head coach in the league reportedly told his players that he was remaining in Pittsburgh following a season-ending playoff loss. Well, I don't think he's done at all. I hope for Pittsburgh's sake and the owners, they keep him. He's not a bad coach. He needs the talent. You can't win with Mason Rudolph and the other guy, whoever that quarterback is, or Kyle Rudolph, Mason. I don't know. Like I said, and I wish Pittsburgh fans were on here. They could tell me because they're just he's a coach up a river because he really doesn't have anybody. Simple as that. All right, so let's go over some divisional playoff games. So first game is at 4:30 on Saturday at 1:20. 1:20 is the date. Houston at Baltimore on ESPN and ABC. A tight offensive game. I think it could be close. I don't think it's going to go to overtime. But Baltimore at home, I think will win 34-27. I think Lamar's going to have a game. I think his running back has a game. And their defense will just hold for one score win. Next game, 8:15 on Saturday. The NFC Green Bay Packers play at San Francisco on Fox. Another close game. I think the fact that Green Bay has this, I don't want to say chip. It's not a chip. It's almost a believability of sorts that they have that we have house money and we can do whatever. I think San Francisco has enough talent on offense to completely shut them down. I don't think the Green Bay defense can completely stop San Francisco, and I don't think they will. So 27-21, I'm picking Green Bay over San Francisco over Green Bay. Next game, Tampa Bay at Detroit. Another close game. I think, honestly, I have it as all 4 games are close. So Tampa Bay and Detroit. Detroit is strong enough. I don't think Tampa is that strong. Like they beat a Philly team that was beaten up pretty bad. I don't think Tampa has enough to beat Detroit. And the Rams, I think, are better than Tampa Bay, and that they took it to the wall with them. I think just enough. Tampa Bay might not even score 21. I'm just putting it there because I think that it could happen. And now the last one. Kansas City at Buffalo on CBS. Thank God Tony Romo's calling this game. He needs to be the one to call this game. My prediction, in overtime, Buffalo beats Kansas City 35-32. And then this is a big prediction for me. I hope people see this. After the loss, I think Travis Kelce will retire. Sometime, maybe not right after the loss, but be kind of convenient that both him and his brother retire in the same year. Is maybe they both get in the Hall of Fame the same year. That I think maybe that's a plan. And but I will say before the Super Bowl, I do think him and Taylor Swift could be engaged. I'm the first person to say this, I'm sure. I don't see TMZ saying this. I don't see Entertainment Tonight saying this. And if I'm wrong, I'm wrong. Hell, I was wrong with the Giants going 14-3 this year. But Travis Kelce retires and gets engaged to Taylor Swift within a month. I don't think that's going too far outside the box. All right. Let me get this off. The ticker. Now let's talk about somewhat of the off season. So NFL teams needing coaches. There it is, right out there. And there's more that need coaches, but there's a lot that need. Let's see, I had it NFL coaching carousel. There we go. No, I don't want that. I want the tracker. There we go. All right. So Atlanta, Carolina, Vegas, Chargers, Seahawks, Titans, Commanders. All teams without a coach right now. Well, and I didn't add one because there is a team that's on this that already got a coach. New England let go of Belichick, but hired Jared Mayo. So Jared Mayo is now the New England Patriots head coach. Okay, so here's a lot of the different coaches that have interviewed or some will be interviewing. Harbaugh, obviously Jim Harbaugh, coach of Michigan, he's already interviewed at least at 2 places. Belichick has also interviewed one, if not 2. Antonio Pierce probably will get the Vegas job. There's been a lot of pull from the players, from the fans of Vegas to keep him there. So it's possible that even Antonio Pierce will be in Vegas, even though he has interviewed to a couple places. DC defensive coordinator Leslie Frazier. Defensive coordinator Steve Wilkes, he's from the 49ers. Defensive coach Mike McDonald is from the Baltimore Ravens. Offensive coach Todd Monken is also from the Baltimore Ravens. You might have heard of this guy, defensive coordinator Raheem Morris from the Rams. He was big in that Detroit game. They kept talking about Raheem Morris. And then, most people know who Dan Quinn is, DC Dan Quinn from the Cowboys. He's the guy who couldn't stop Green Bay, so go figure. Now, let's see. They have it here in the listings of who's got who. And let's see, hires, okay. The Commanders hired an assistant GM VP, Adam Peters. Looming decisions, well, I just told you about the Mike McCarthy that he's saying. Patrick Graham has reportedly received interest from other teams. The defensive coordinator from Las Vegas. So, interviews and candidates. Who's interviewed? So, Belichick, Harbaugh, and Mike McDonald have all interviewed at Atlanta. The other one, and also Steve Wilkes and Brian Callahan, all have interviewed, and Anthony Weaver, who's the associate head coach and DL coach for the Ravens. Atlanta's hiring someone soon. Like the Falcons, my pick for the Falcons, honestly, it's either Belichick or Harbaugh, and I'd probably go Belichick. Because they have a quarterback that they can get. They have a pick that Belichick will love. Panthers, honestly, it's one of 2 people in my opinion. It's either Raheem Morris or Dan Quinn. I don't see the big guys obviously, and then there's a lot of other OCs and DCs. So in my opinion, I think that's going to be Dan Quinn, but I think Raheem Morris is a shot there too. Carolina GM, I'm not even going to guess. There's just too many people I don't know. Chicago Bears OC, Jacksonville DC, Vegas head coach, like I said, Antonio Pierce, I think is going to get it. The other 2 that are in it are Leslie Frazier and Chris Richard. I think it's really Antonio Pierce. Chargers, I truly think it's Harbaugh. I think Harbaugh's going to the Chargers, although I did think it might be Belichick. But the problem with Belichick, for one, he's not even on this list. But 2, I don't know if he wants to go to LA. I mean, that's pretty far from where he used to be. Although he would have a great quarterback. And that's why I thought that Harbaugh would actually go to Washington. Which, if he gets paid enough money, he might go to Washington. But he's got a great quarterback here in LA that he can mold even better. Although they did interview Kellen Moore of the Chargers, who's the OC. He could get the head coaching job of the same team he was on. Chargers GM, New York Giants defensive coach. Now, obviously, I talked about this when Wink Martindale was probably quitting or resigning or whatever it was. So they've interviewed one person, Denard Wilson, the Ravens DB coach, to be the defensive coordinator. Titans DC Shane Bowen will be interviewed, and Chargers DC Derek Ansley is on the list. And it goes on and on. So for the Seattle Seahawks head coaching position, Dan Quinn's up for it. Raheem Morris is up for it. Bobby Slowick, who's the offensive coordinator for the Texans, is a very good possibility. Here's an interesting one who says we'll interview. Giants offensive coordinator Mike Kafka. I wouldn't be upset if Mike Kafka got up, because then we would get a new offensive coordinator. I'd be okay with that, given who we might have as a quarterback next year. Tennessee Titans and Commanders, like I said, Commanders don't have, weirdly enough, Harbaugh on their list. So they have Anthony Weaver, who they already interviewed, and Raheem Morris. I think Morris or Slowick goes here. So that's that. I mean, that at least right now, there's only the one coach that's been hired, so be it. Let me see what's next. Okay. Let's talk about my rants a little bit. Let me go down a little bit. And let me just type something in. There we go. Perfect. Okay. So let me get rid of that. My rant. Retractable roof for professional stadiums, football and baseball specifically, a great need for the future of professional sports. Let me be frank. What happened in Kansas City and what happened in Buffalo this weekend is just another two events that happened that didn't necessarily need to happen. If you have a retractable roof, any and every game can be played. I mean, I know there's a cost. I get that there's a cost. My issue is not the cost. My issue is why do you need to have games postponed, moved? It's a logistical nightmare, and it makes more sense just to get it paid for, especially in the north and anywhere where there's a weather event that can affect, which is most of the country if you think about it. But here's a funny thing: some of them already have it. Look at Florida has it. The Marlins have it. Toronto obviously has it. And the Blue Jays. No, there's really no football teams other than Dallas that has some type of roof. I might be wrong. I know there's a couple others, but Kansas City, you can't tell me, with all the money they make and all the money they're giving Mahomes, that they can't adjust something on that Geha field at Arrowhead or whatever they want to call it, and put a roof, a retractable roof on that, so you block out weather, you block out cold. I mean, is there any reason you want your players not to catch a ball? You know, you get possibly your players sick, and I know this is an anomaly, but 70 people in Kansas City had to go to the hospital. I heard this today on the radio. Now, there was 40 or 70,000. I don't know the number of people that were at Geha Field at Arrowhead, but 70 different people in the Kansas City area, most likely coming from that game, had to go to the hospital for some type of treatment. Now, all are fine and all players are good. I mean, all people are good, but and healthy as of right now. They're all at the hospital supposedly. But what Buffalo went through, okay, Buffalo had a major snowstorm last week. They had to actually hire people they didn't have enough employees. So they actually had to hire people just to come in, like fans, to come in and shovel. And they didn't get enough because during the game, there was still plenty of snow to throw up in the air when they got a touchdown. people actually had to walk through snow in the upper areas. That's not professional. And I'll bring this to baseball. And I've been saying this now for years, honestly. I'm only bringing it up now because of what happened. I've been saying this about Yankee Stadium and Citi Field for a very, very long time. And I'll even add Philly. Weather in the Northeast in the April months, in April and March, can be a little volatile. There has been snow. We will get lots of rain, and it's not like it's light rain. It's cold. It can be as cold as 30 degrees, and does anybody in baseball want to play in 30-degree weather? I don't. I'm not throwing the ball with my kid in 30-degree weather. It doesn't happen. Why would a professional want to play in that same thing? Especially older professionals. You think their stiff muscles aren't going to get stiffer in 30-degree weather? Tampa may not have the right, like Tampa Bay Rays. They don't have a great stadium. It's a little run down, even for how new it kind of is. But it's got a dome. I mean, we're living in 2024 now. Is there any way we could possibly get every stadium redone so weather isn't a factor in any possible retraction of a game in the future? I mean, seriously, how hard is this? And the one team I'm upset with, because where they live, where they reside, the Minnesota Twins. How stupid can you be going from the Metrodome to an outdoor field like Target Field and you don't have a roof? You're in Minnesota. If you go to the World Series and you're at home, it's possibly going to be 20 degrees. Come on. Use your heads. There's no way that your head is in the snow that much that you can't think that you should have a retractable roof. Toronto, who is on the same level, longitude-wise, as you, has a retractable roof. I need more people to get on board with me on this. I really do. This needs to get higher up. I mean, teams like, and I get the Cubs, I get the Red Sox. Those are iconic establishments. Yankee Stadium's not. That's new, so that can get redone. I mean, when you can have a wrestling event in Nebraska, Monday Night Raw, or you can have a bowling event in, I think that was Nebraska too, which is having the same cold spell that Missouri and Kansas City had. I mean, and it was indoors, and it was entertaining, it was fun. Why can't we have football like that? Why do we have to see people freezing? Stupid men wearing no shirt in minus 0 degree weather or negative degree weather, and they're going to the hospital. You're giving stupid people opportunities that you don't need to. At some point, we got to figure this out. If it's only one stadium at a time, so be it. We got to figure this out. That's my rant. So I can feel my... There we go. I felt that coming. All right. Let's get to something a little interesting that I don't think I've ever talked about before. So this came up. A 22-year-old Welsh former rugby star, Louis, I'm assuming it's Louis, Reis Zammit. Now, I know it's Zammit, but that's Charlie Zammit, and he's in New Jersey. Anyway, who became relevant to American sports on Tuesday. He announced yesterday as he's leaving the Professional Rugby League to pursue an NFL career. Now, how does he do this? This is how. International players compete for a spot in the NFL International Player Pathway Program. Never heard of this. Never heard of this. So what is this? So the program was not the first initiative by the NFL to introduce foreign talent. The first such program was the NFL International Development Practice Squad program between 2004 and 2009. So eligibility is started in 2017. Potential applicants to NFL Undiscovered were asked to meet specific requirements and were advised to follow a particular application process. Some of these criteria have either changed over time or there is some discretion applied during the selection process, as not all the athletes that have come through the program in the intervening years meet all the following criteria. So here's the criteria. Age 24 or younger, out of high school or equivalent at least by 4 years. So basically 21 or 22. So you can only be 21 to 24 to be eligible. Another eligibility, did not play American football at a U.S. college. So obviously it's for every international soccer player, rugby player, cricket. The cricket players. Oh, this is an interesting one. Might want to put this into baseball. Just a thought. Ability to speak English. I don't mean to be conservative. I don't mean to not be liberal. I'm in the middle. But this is a pet peeve of mine for the longest time in any workplace. You're in America. Know the language that is the American language, which is English. I don't need to know any other language unless I want to learn it, because English is the language of the land I was born in. Eligibility, you need to know English. Can't say I hate that rule. Another one is not a citizen of the U.S. or Canada, which means at some point you're going to become a citizen of the United States if you want to play NFL football. And then, and they say or Canada, which means you can't be Canadian. That's interesting. So, and they must be available and eligible to travel to the U.S. for 2 months from the first week in March. Okay. So the NFL has specific regulations for players that sign through the IPP. The teams to which the IPP player is assigned are allowed 91 players on their off-season roster, one more than those teams that are not participating in the IPP that year. At the point when these rosters need to be cut to 53 at the end of the preseason, the participating teams must decide the status of their IPP players. Interesting. Did not know this. All right, so let's see some active players. So right now, we have an active player, F.A. Obata, from the United Kingdom. Okay, defensive end, plays for Carolina. This one, mostly everybody knows. He's a singer. He's with Jason Kelce and is singing. Jordan Mailata from Australia. He played rugby and now is one of the offensive tackles on that line for the Philadelphia Eagles. Jacob Johnson, in 2019, from both Germany and France. He's got 2 nationalities. That's interesting. He's the fullback for the New England Patriots. David Bada, German and French as well, defensive tackle for Washington. Do we know anybody else? Because there's a lot of names. Okay. This one I kind of know. And I wonder if he's a son of somebody. CJ Okoye, defensive line for the Chargers this year from Nigeria. Very interesting. So this year you had a bunch of people. A guy from Italy, a bunch of guys from Nigeria. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 guys from Nigeria. And a French guy, Junior Aho. I think I remember that name. Defensive line from Minnesota. So this is the thing, and I think we want to start paying attention to this. I mean, some international players, we keep going to Germany, we keep going to England. Hopefully, and Mexico City, we've done too. Hopefully, we get some more people from different places. Australia is very interesting. I hope to God we don't put a game in Australia. God help me. Oh my God. Can you imagine trying to stay up for that? The Olympics in 2000 was hard enough. Okay? I mean, I had a classmate who was in that Olympics, and I never saw it live. And good for Tommy Wilkins. He got, bronze medal for swimming. He's the only bronze medalist at CBA, or any medalist period at CBA. So, and I never got to see it. I was a little upset. It is what it is. All right, so let me get off of this. Now, I heard this today. There we go. Dwight Gooden and Darryl Strawberry will have their Mets numbers retired this upcoming season. This poses many thoughts of others locally to retire. So, let me talk about this. Or as LA Knight would say, let me talk to you. So, no, that's not what I want. Hold on. That's what I want. Okay. So, getting back to Dwight and Doc. I mean, Doc and Darryl. So, I have no problem with this. Honestly, as a former Met fan and a fan at that time of these two guys specifically, this is long overdue. And for the reason it's long overdue is because the Wilpons wouldn't do jack S about this. And for whatever reason, because they left or they got traded or they won with other teams, the Yankees, or their drug usage in the 80s into the 90s, which, and I have to say, I heard it on the Michael K show, right, that back then it was bad. You were a bad guy. We now know more than likely with both Doc and Darryl, it was a disease. They didn't know how to stop when they started. It doesn't make it when the person who's a bad guy and does drugs is a bad guy. If he's a good guy and does stupid things, doesn't make him a bad guy. It just makes him a guy with issues. And that's what I think of these two guys. I don't idolize. They've had tough roads. I empathize now more than ever. And I hope they'll be able to watch these, events because honestly, don't have SNY anymore. And if it goes to a regular channel, like 11, like a WPIX, maybe I can see it. Or I might have to go over to my father-in-law's house, or soon-to-be father-in-law's house, to see it since he's got SNY. Like I said, this poses many thoughts to other people. And one specific, and I've thought he needed his number retired for a while. I just don't think the Yankee brass is going to do it. Alex Rodriguez, he should have number 13 retired. And here's why. So, he started as a Yankee in 2004, ended in, 2016? With a year that he was out because of his suspension. He put up pretty good numbers, whether it was, via, steroids or not, we don't know. We only know what we saw on a piece of paper, not on a test. I think because he posted pretty good numbers for what he was doing, played third base instead of shortstop. He basically let Derek Jeter stay at one position for his whole career. For those three things, and the things he did, he was a pretty good batter. I suspect I'd have to look it up. I'm not doing it now, but he was close to a 300 hitter. There was a reason he was batting 4 behind Teixeira. He hit the home runs. He was a 2-time MVP for the Yankees. I'm sorry. You got to put him in the retired numbers. You don't have to put, you probably don't have to put a plaque there. Maybe you do. I don't know. He won a championship for you. And if you're going to put CeCe at some point, which I have a funny feeling CeCe's going to be there. And I know Teixeira is kind of like on the fence because he didn't have the numbers. But Alex is the next guy for the Yankees. And the Mets, they might have somebody too that they can do, because he's not with us anymore. You can obviously wait until they do Doc and Deb. And that is Gary Carter. And I would do Gary Carter before you do David Wright, in my opinion. Gary Carter needs to have his number retired. The 8 needs to be retired, period. All right. As you can tell, I haven't gotten better yet. Who knows? I don't know if I can bowl tomorrow night either. Anyway. So, the New York Yankees officially signed Marcus Stroman. 2 years, $37 million, possibly a 3-year option deal. That could be $55 million. Well, if he hits the $55 million, that means he has had a damn good 3 years. I'll say 15 wins a year. I'll say 175 strikeouts a year. And his ERA is probably anywhere from 2.75 to 3.4. I'll take that. Let's see if that happens. I'll come back to this video and find out in 2 years if that's what he did. Because that's the only way he's getting that. And then, of course, he'll be wearing number 0. Not a normal number you'd see on a Yankee field or Yankee uniform. We did have one before that, and now he's a Met. Maybe Marcus is kind of doing the opposite. So he's, in my opinion, at least the number 3 guy. You know, we need somebody else to get in that number 2 spot because Rodon needs to be a 4 or 5. In my opinion, 5. Or what else? Okay. So when football was going on, this was going on too. The 75th Emmy Awards were Monday night during the Eagles-Bucks game. This is who won in case you missed it, like I did. So let's go to the awards. Nominees and winners. These are the ones that I think are the important ones. Outstanding comedy series. Now, I kind of got to see this now. As I keep seeing it. I keep seeing it, and I haven't yet to see it. It's on FX. The comedy series is The Bear. All right, it beat out Big Swingers, Abbott Elementary, Barry, Jury Duty, Only Murders in the Building, Ted Lasso, Marvelous Mrs. Maisel, and my favorite, Wednesday. But obviously Wednesday wasn't as good as this. Let's see. Drama series, let's see. The winner is Succession. Never seen it. It beat out Andor, Better Call Saul, House of the Dragon, The Crown, The Last of Us, The White Lotus, and Yellow Jackets. The only thing I've actually seen is Andor. Not that great. So, all right. Limited or anthology series. The winner, Beef. Getting a lot of awards, this Beef. Beat out Dahmer, Davy Jones in the 6th, Fleischman is in Trouble, and my favorite, which I did see, Obi-Wan Kenobi. Let's see. Okay. Host for a reality competition. This is funny. I did see this. So the winner is RuPaul. RuPaul beat out the Queer Eye guys, the new ones. Nicole Byer for Nailed It, Padma Lakshmi for Top Chef, and Amy Poehler and Maya Rudolph for Baking It. So 2 food ones. Nailed It, I have no idea what that is. Anyway, I gotta give a shout out excuse me, to the Top Game Show. None other than Jeopardy. Jeopardy won an Emmy. Go figure. I don't know how many they got. Let's see. Can I check? Let's see. Info. 3 nominations and 1 Emmy. So that's right. So Mayim Bialik and Ken Jennings were both nominated for Outstanding Host. All right. Can I go back? Is there a way to go back? No, there is not. Let's see. I'll have to do that. Okay. So, yeah, Jeopardy won, which is awesome. It beat interesting shows. Family Feud, Celebrity Family Feud. That's my jam. That's the Jimmy Fallon vehicle. The Price is Right and Wheel of Fortune XL. Whatever, I guess 40th season. That's who it beat. Go figure. Talk show. The best talk show. A little bit of a surprise, but on his last year, not. The Daily Show with Trevor Noah. Beat out Jimmy Kimmel, Seth Meyers, Stephen Colbert, and The Problem with Jon Stewart. I didn't know Jon Stewart was doing anything else. Go figure. Let's see. So, lead actor in a comedy. Lead actor goes to the guy from The Bear, Jeremy Allen White. Beat out big-time guys. Bill Hader, Jason Segel, Martin Short, and Jason Sudeikis. Those are some big-time people this first-timer got beat out, but he also won before, too. Lead actress in a comedy. I think I saw this. Quinta Brunson for Abbott Elementary. From what I heard, she's the first African-American actress to win a comedy award, lead actress comedy award in like over 40 years. So that's pretty good. She beat Christina Applegate, Dead to Me, which I've never seen that, but I didn't know she was in that. Love this show. Rachel Brosnahan for the Marvelous Mrs. Maisel, which is going off the air after 4 years. This girl was really good in this series in Poker Face, Natasha Lyonne. If you haven't seen Poker Face, I saw all 10 episodes, and I think there's a second. Natasha Lyonne is really good. And the last, and I would have given it to her too, so there's a lot of good actresses in this. Jenna Ortega for Wednesday. If you didn't see Wednesday, if you haven't seen it yet, you got to see that. Jenna Ortega, besides the dance, is really good in that show. So let's go to lead actor in a drama. That went to another Succession. Succession is apparently a really good drama. Surely somebody could tell me that. There were actually 3 people up from Succession in this. Brian Cox, Jeremy Strong, and the eventual winner, Kieran Culkin, Macaulay's little brother. Other men he beat, Jeff Bridges, Bob Odenkirk, and Pedro Pascal. Interesting players he beat. Kieran Culkin is becoming 2024's biggest surprise. Lead actress in a drama. Did that go to Succession too? Yes, it did. Sarah Snook beat out, let's see, a bunch of people. Excuse me. Sharon Horgan, Melanie Linsky, Elizabeth Moss for The Handmaid's Tale, Bella Ramsey, and Kerry Russell for The Diplomat. Go figure. All right. Is there anything else that's worth anything else? Yeah, probably not. So there was a lot going on that night too, from what I saw. So I found it very interesting. Like who'd they bring out? Oh, let me see. Lead actress, and I forgot her name off the top of my head. Christina Applegate. So she has MS, and she's going through it, and they brought her out. Actually, Anthony Anderson, I saw the clip, actually brought her out, and she presented, and good for her. Like, she's one of my favorite, best-looking celebrities I know. And growing up, she was Kelly Bundy all the way through whatever she's done. And Kelly Bundy is going to be one of the all-time great women characters in TV. If you think about it, But, it's really sad what Christine's going through. But, good for her to get up there and say something. And from what I saw, they did a bunch of the old hits, old shows. I have to YouTube and probably find out. And if you missed the YouTube is the best way to probably find out. But they did a lot of different skits with the shows, the old shows, with the old some of the cast of characters that were on those shows. So and they almost did a Friends one, but they didn't do it because they thought it was too soon since Matt Perry passed away. So I get that, but I think a lot of people were clamoring for a Friends reunion. That would have been pretty cool, but yeah, maybe timing was a little off. Who knows? So let me get to this. A little news, since I got nobody watching, but some people might be watching at some point. And I saw this on the news, and I saw this in my email. Royals are in the hospital. Princess Kate hospitalized today and will be in the hospital for about 2 weeks for abdominal surgery. And King Charles III also was told that he needs to undergo a corrective procedure for an enlarged prostate next week. Go figure. The Royals are have to go to the hospital. It's better. At least both are positive. They're on the positive side of getting better, or will be getting better, hopefully. They don't want anything bad to happen to them at such a young age. And then, okay, now I can go to my email, because I have this in my email. Let's see. Give me about a minute. Let's see. I started. Asbury Park. Excuse me a minute. I know I saved it. Huh. Sure, I see the rugby star. Well, this kind of sucks. That's interesting. Well, I found this one. Sum 41. If you guys ever know Sum 41, they're having a farewell tour that kicks off at the Stone Pony Summer Stage this summer. May 4th it starts, actually, so it's not quite summer. But so that was part of my top stories from Asbury Park Press, but I can't seem to find the other Asbury Park Press. Vote for Boys Swimmer of the Month. No. Let's see. Let me see if I can do Asbury Park. Let's see. No, it's not. Okay, I'll get. So you see that it's going to be happening on the 20th at Red Bank and Asbury Park sites. So that, if you want to look that up, that's on the press page. Let me get back to this. So I'll leave that up just a little bit longer so you all can see. Light of Day 2024 in Asbury Park. You go look that up. It's a fight for Parkinson's with music and love. In the articles by Chris Jordan. All right. So I'll just run through this real quick again. WWE Royal Rumble, that's coming up in 11 days. Okay, Roman Reigns looking to retain his title. They did the signing this week. I missed that on Raw too, so it's something I got to watch on Raw. That's the fatal four-way against AJ Styles, LA Knight, and Randy Orton. Roman Reigns looks to retain, so I'm going to make my pick now. And I think the winner of this match ends up to be Randy Orton. I think Randy Orton wins his title. I forget how many that would be. I think somehow, and I think Randy will pin, I'll say AJ Styles. Okay? That Randy Orton pins AJ Styles. And the other matches, Kevin Owens looks to retain to beat Logan Paul. I hate to say this. It kills me to say this. I think Logan Paul retains. I don't know how. I don't know why. I think he does. and then the men's and women's matches. I gotta say, for the men, I'm leaning CM Punk right now, but he hasn't done anything yet. So he's got to do something, and maybe this is it. Who knows? And for the women, I'll go Rachel Rodriguez. I think that she's definitely up there to try to get a women's title. All right, so I'll go to this because I don't got too much left to talk about. So CBA basketball bowling update. I can go to this. I have something called Colts Center. So CBA won their match today. They beat Long Branch 3-0. Let me get out of that. X. Let's see. Recent CBA updates. Varsity hockey. First, Catholic. The boys CBA boys hockey team beat Catholic hockey, whatever Catholic hockey is, 12-0. Boys CBA varsity bowling beat Long Branch 3-0. The JV ice hockey beat Westfield 3-2. Middletown. Okay, so varsity. Oh wow, good for us yesterday. CBA beat Middletown North 74-51. The basketball team's doing very good. Varsity fencing. If you didn't know this was a high school thing, now you know. They beat Homedale 15-12. And I follow them on Instagram too. They're very interesting to follow. JV basketball, we beat Middletown North 78-31. That's a dominating game. Now, for the bowling, let me say this. The one team CBA can't beat in their division is Red Bank Regional. They lost again 3-0 to them. I don't know what it is for these boys that they got to figure it out. That's their rival. Okay? That's the team you got to beat. You got to show up. You got to hit their strikes. You got to focus. Period. Well, I told one of the guys when they was he's not there anymore because he's hurt. Actually, let me. No, not the hockey. Teams. There we go. Bowling. Rosters. Let's go to bowling. Let's say the kid's name. Bennett Cavallo. I told Bennett, and I think he took this to heart, and I would tell the rest of the team, whether it be Finn, whether it be Tyler, Alex, Luke, any of the starters, when you get up on that lane, your job is to get to strike. You get to mark. You need to focus on the job at hand. Nothing else. And I mean, put your brain at ease and just go. I mean, that's all I could say. You know your spot. Hit that spot every time. Period. And you got to do that against Red Bank because they're just that much better. So now I do want to talk about that, and I should mention too, my nephew Kasey has gone up. He's up to 153. Nice job, Kasey. You're getting there. You get, like I said, the CBA guys. Kasey, you need to do the same thing. When you get up to the lanes, all you got to do is focus your head on what you're supposed to do. Don't worry about anything else, and just go. Know your spot, and then roll your spot, and adjust accordingly. Okay. So, short conference. I watched this game on Tuesday night. Monday night. So I watched it Monday night. CBA took out Shore Regional 57-38. And Kevin Pickle, who's the son of the Rutgers basketball coach, Steve Pickle, scored 15 points. And Fuerbacher, I think he's one of the forwards, but he's got some jump, had a great slam dunk on a breakaway. And he had a team high 16 points. Now, I can't wait. I got to say, and I'm going to say what I can't wait for. So, now CBA basketball is ready. Okay, I wrote this too. CBA basketball is on a 4-game winning streak. Now it's 5 since they won. They beat their home wins was against Rainey, Colts Neck, and Pyre Academy. led by Dylan Keel, juniors Justin Fuerbacher and Kevin Pickle, and the coach, Jeff Billett. Jeff Billett, class of 95. You're ahead of a year behind me. And he probably doesn't remember this. I had to guard him in phys ed class my sophomore year. That wasn't fun. Jeff doesn't remember that, but I do. So now going forward, I'm going to hopefully do a video when I'm there. I want to. We'll see. I'm going to be at the varsity basketball game for Red Bend Catholic, against Red Bend Catholic at CBA on Saturday at 2 p.m. amongst hopefully a bunch of other fellow alumni. And I'm bringing my nephew. I know he goes to Monmouth. I wanted him to experience the CBA cold crazy lifestyle. And this will be their 7th game in 2 weeks. That's insane. 7 games in 2 weeks, and they're 6-1. They're 5-1. I'm sorry, they're 5-1. So that's it. This is probably the shortest one I've had. Now, again, I apologize yesterday. You can tell this is not good. I probably shouldn't have done it today, but it is what it is. I hope everybody has a good week. I should be back next Tuesday with hopefully no issues. Hopefully I sound better. Hopefully I didn't sound bad today. All right. If anybody's going to be at the CBA game on Saturday, I will see you there. Hopefully this should be gone. I'm going to be teeing everything up. All right. And as I said in the beginning, if you like what you've seen here, click the subscribe button in the bottom right-hand corner. Let's get some retractable roofs on our stadiums. Let's hope everybody stays safe in the snow on Friday. And remember, I do have Super Bowl boxes that are ready to go at any time you're ready to pick. All right? Be safe. Have a good week. See you Tuesday.